New tonight, she has been cycling for years, but there was nothing typical about her most recent ride.
But tonight, she and other Valley cyclists are mourning a life lost and questioning their own safety. Channel 5's Tracy Bragg is live with the details.
It's a tragedy one local cyclist says happens much too often here in the Valley. The cyclist says he's banding together with state and local partners to do something about it. His goal, to save lives.
You have to respect the road. You know there's a risk every time you go out there.
For the last several years, cycling has played a huge role in Kay Polk's life. Polk tells us she hits the road 4 times a week, cycling for miles at a time. Sunday was her most recent ride.
We had a 20th anniversary ride for that day, and it was a 68-mile ride.
Over 100 riders were on the popular cycle route that day. It started in Harlingen, then head to Rio Hondo and Raymondville before looping back around to Harlingen. Polk tells us several miles into the ride, tragedy struck.
A vehicle hit 2 of the riders and one of them passed. Yeah, very, very sad.
Rosie Romo died at the scene. A second rider is still recovering in the hospital. Polk says accidents involving cyclists and vehicles happen much too often in the Valley.
One death is too many.
Michael McNew is a cyclist and co-founder of Run, Ride, Share. It's a nonprofit dedicated to ending the death of cyclists and pedestrians on the road. McNew says his organization's greatest tool is education.
We've gone to Austin to actually produce booklets and information that we're able to bring back to the local communities here.
McNew tells us in those booklets, cyclists can find maps of the safest cycle routes in the Valley, safety tips, and state regulations. McNew's organization is also partnering with several cities in the Valley to create more bike and hike trails. They're also making sure bike riders are seen by providing free safety equipment.
Lights for our adults, to provide a front light and a rear light. It's a state law to have that light.
McNew hopes the more cyclists on the road, the more aware drivers become. McNew adds next his organization plans to partner with local driving schools to make sure new drivers are learning to be aware of everyone on the road, including those not in vehicles. An extra check while driving could mean the difference between life and death. In the studio, Tracy Bragg, Channel 5 News at 10.
A reminder, bike riders do have the same rights as motorists when on the roads. That is according to the Texas Department of Transportation. But there are other rules they must follow. For example, they are required to use a headlamp when riding at night. They also need to add a reflector to those bicycles.